Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Mars square Neptune in Synastry because this needs to be talked about. This can be a confusing one. So, when we have Mars, our assertive, aggressive, sexual, passionate energy meeting in a square with Neptune, which is the illusion, confusion, our highest dreams realized, but it's not the most realistic energy in the world. It's not even a very physical energy, it's a very non physical energy. With this square, we can both really feel extreme attraction to each other. This very commonly shows up in affairs, in all types of sexual relationships and flings and romantic relationships because this one aspect probably creates the most buzz and interest, but also can be the most damaging for the people involved because it can be a very weakening aspect to see. So, Mars and Neptune is not quite like Venus and Neptune, where, Venus and Neptune are a bit more similar. Mars and Neptune are very differing energies. And when they are square in synastry, we have some problems with feeling unclear about where the other person is at. And the Neptune person can really feel confused by the Mars person's actions. They can feel like their actions just don't really make sense, or also they can find that their actions are kind of off putting. They can be extremely hurt by the Mars person. Now, the Mars person can also be hurt by the Neptune person because the Neptune person, when they meet them with their directness and their masculine energy, which is represented by Mars, the Neptune person is kind of evasive or sometimes deceptive, or there's just something very unclear about them. And, it might actually not even be that there is something unclear, it's just the Mars person feels like something is unclear. This aspect can commonly show up in relationships where there is some lying or deceiving going on. And it doesn't always have to be the Neptune person, but it can be that the Neptune person is not being totally honest about their intentions, or the Mars person just perceives them as that. Because the square aspect is this aspect of constant tension, right? So we're constantly challenged by each other. Now, some tension is good in a relationship. And when we have a Mars Neptune square, the tension does tend to be of a sexual variety, right? So this aspect can actually really get two people into a sexual relationship that maybe should not have been in one, because maybe something is unclear, something is being lied about, someone is unavailable, someone is from another part of the world, or there's just something that we're not seeing clearly when we have a Mars square Neptune aspect. There can be something that we're not seeing. The Neptune person can really look at the Mars person as someone who is assertive and dominating and masculine, even if the Mars person is a woman. But they can also feel, yeah, just hurt by their actions, or like they're a bit insensitive or a bit overtly sexual or overly sexual in a way that is attractive maybe at the beginning, but then as time goes on, the Neptune person can really get the ick for Mars. Now, this doesn't have to be a death sentence. This isn't actually a horrible square to have, because of the amount of passion that it does create is quite unmatched. Mars square and in conjunct to Neptune and opposite to Neptune, even though they're hard aspects, they tend to be pretty attractive because we're seeing in things, or we're seeing in the person things that are maybe not there. So it can be one of the more attractive aspects to have in a romantic relationship. It can be the person that you're pining for and that you feel like is otherworldly and that's going to give you this insane sexual experience of a lifetime. Now, that may be true, but it also might not be true. So With this one, you have to look at the rest of the synastry and see if there are other compatibilities. Um, and if there are, this is just an aspect that you should handle with care and caution and just be really clear. And as the Mars person, make sure you're explaining yourself and your intentions. Look, I'm getting hot talking about Mars Neptune. It's hot. So, yeah, just make sure you're being very clear, both of you actually. But the Mars person could do well to just be aware the Neptune person is sensitive. Like their Mars might appear to Neptune at times to be insensitive. So the Mars person can work on, um, toning it down a bit and being more gentle and sensitive towards the Neptune person, and that'll help the Neptune person not be so easily hurt. And the Neptune person just needs to be very clear. They both need to be very clear of their intentions. So when you're getting into this relationship, or if this is a business relationship, definitely be very clear, be very careful, signing contracts, things like that. When we have Neptune squares in the synastry or composite, we want to just be very clear when we have Neptune squares, okay? So yeah, if you're just being very clear, lay everything out, sign here very carefully, read the paperwork, if all relationships had that type of thing, maybe Neptunian relationships would make a lot more sense. But yeah, even if it's not in writing, just be very clear, be very vocal about what your intentions are for the relationship, and then nobody gets hurt, right? But even at that, recognize that still sometimes someone might be lying, right? So there's never really any way to be totally sure on any relationship, right? But with certain aspects like this, you just want to do your best to be very clear and careful with your actions, because a Mars Neptune square is going to make you act drunk and crazy. Neptune has an intoxicating effect. Yeah, so this is the kind of aspect you just want to be very clear on everything, but it still can be a very rewarding relationship. The Neptunian energies involved with Mars, it can really bring about a feeling of like a spiritual union. It's kind of like a tantric energy, like sacred sexuality. You could really feel like you've found someone who you can let all of your craziest fantasies out with, and there does tend to be quite a strong sexual energy permeating the relationship. So that can be a gift. The only danger, the Mars person can be a bit weakened by the Neptune person's influence. They can feel a bit subdued, and if their Mars is already like debilitated at all, the Neptune person could really zap their energy. If there aren't other harmonious aspects to this person's Mars, they could find that they end up feeling drained by the Neptune person. And also, if either of them have any addictive tendencies, that's another thing to just be really careful of. Is if you see a Mars square Neptune and synastry, you could see people really getting involved in bad stuff together, bad habits, addictions, drugs, alcohol, even like criminal things like Mars Neptune stuff. It can really make people do some crazy things. So you just want to be very aware and very clear if you have this aspect. But it does definitely create a pretty strong desire for each other. In a non-sexual relationship, it also does create a fascination with each other that you can really see the Neptune person glorifying the Mars person and putting them on a high pedestal, and vice versa. The Mars person really sees the Neptune person as like the embodiment of like pure spirituality, and like they see the Neptune person as like a forgiving, compassionate, like kind person, and they can use that influence of the Neptune person to help them like become more refined and more like peaceful and calm and kind, and like tone down their Martian aggressiveness if they have it. So Yeah, there's lots here. I'd love to know your experience of the synastry aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Let me know in the comments, you guys, and keep your requests coming. Thank you so much for watching. Talk soon. Bye.